Hello and welcome to another episode of Locked on Raptors. Sean with you here once again, and I have two wonderful guests on today's show. We spoke yesterday about the Raptor being up for nomination into the Mascot Hall of Fame, and because I'm a mascot-loving person, I reached out to the Mascot Hall of Fame to see if anyone would want to come on the show, and we got not one but two wonderful guests on today's show. We have Karen Anszewicz and Michele Gustin, both representing the Mascot Hall of Fame. I'm going to make my case as to why the Raptors should be there. I'm not sure it will matter very much because there's a whole voting process that we're also going to dig into as well, and we're going to talk about the Raptor and everything that is wonderful about the Toronto Raptors mascot, who, of course, has been with the team since day one. That's all coming up on a very fun Friday episode of the podcast. Stick around.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to episode number 1027 of Locked On Raptors for Friday, October the 1st. Oh my God, it's October. I'm your host, Sean Woodley, RaptorsHQ.com. You can find me on Twitter as always, at WoodleySean. You can find the show at Locked On Raptors. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. And on today's show, we have a very fun episode with a pair of wonderful guests who, if you're watching on YouTube, you see on the screen here, joining me from the Mascot Hall of Fame in Whiting, Indiana, the place that the Toronto Raptors mascot, the Raptor, is attempting to gain entry to the Mascot Hall of Fame. On the show with me, on your left on the screen, is Karen Anszewicz, the acting director of the Mascot Hall of Fame, and Michele Gustin on the right, who is the director of business development for the Mascot Hall of Fame. Karen, Michele, how's it going? Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, we're super excited. This is a very exciting time for us here.
Well, here's the thing: it's an exciting time for me. People who listen to this podcast know that I have an affinity for mascots. I feel like I'm with my people here. You guys run the Mascot Hall of Fame. This is wonderful. Very rarely do people respond when I start talking about the lore of NBA mascots or sports mascots in general. So I'm thrilled to have you here to indulge me. On today's show, we're going to dig into the case for the Raptor to get into the Mascot Hall of Fame. Going to run through the voting process, where you can vote if you're a Raptors fan who desperately wants to see the Raptor in there, and maybe some other sort of mascot odds and ends at the end of the show as well. People who listen to the show know that I'm a big fan of the New Orleans Pelicans King Cake Baby. I certainly have an affinity for terrifying mascots as well. I want your thoughts on that. I noticed the lack of representation of terrifying mascots in the Hall of Fame, and I'm here to change that as well. So we'll get to all of that on today's show. But I guess the place to start here, and Karen, we can begin with you. The voting process gets started on Sunday, October the 3rd. Great number of mascots up for nomination, a few NHL ones, a couple NBA ones. The Raptor, of course, is the one who pertains to the interests of the listeners and viewers of this podcast. What's the process going to be like here? How does it all work? Just kind of give us the rundown of the nomination process and how the Raptor can go about gaining entry to the hallowed halls.
So prior to this, the ballot being created, it was created by, or prior to the ballot being announced, it was created by our executive committee and nominations from schools or organizations that we narrowed down to about 20, to exactly 24 people, are mascots that are now on the ballot. That's starting on the 3rd year.
So like Karen said, organizations and teams, we go through a period, I don't know, it was like maybe, about 4 or 5 weeks, where you can nominate your favorite mascot. And
Right.
So, we got quite a few. And so we have an executive committee of 30. They go ahead, look through the process, look through the forms. And there's criteria to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, you just can't say, "Oh, here I am," right? So you gotta be something else. So you gotta be, first of all, you gotta be prominent in your community. So we want mascots that are giving back to the community, hospital visits, anti-bullying programs, or what have you, reading programs, you name it.
And you have to be 10 years old, at least 10 years old.
10 years old. That's a lot of people think they can get in. You can't.
And you actually have to be nominated by your team, your club, your school. You cannot be nominated just by somebody
like a fan.
Yeah,
like you. John,
like
you
someone like me.
nominate.
I can't just write in and say the Raptor needs to be in. Okay, fair enough.
No, but you know, for what somebody could always do is go to that school and encourage them to nominate.
Of course.
Right.
Or the team. Yeah.
And another thing is like the mascots. Okay, so their performance, right?
Mhm.
We want to see who's memorable out there. Who I like to call them their shenanigans. You know, if it's silly string, popcorn, or you know, if it's zip lining across a football field, or you know, on a trampoline doing backward flips. So we want something memorable that stand out, and you know, have a fan base that you know can really appreciate them. You know, mascots are with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter how old you are. So when you're a kid, you grow up with all these mascots. So you know, they're beloved, and they're you know they're there to keep the team up. The fans cheering and going on and stuff. So you know, this is a pretty special place, and we're excited to honor them. And like Karen said, we have 24 solid mascots. I mean, obviously we could have hundreds, right?
Yeah.
But we've narrowed it down, and now this is important because we've done everything we can. Our executive committee, our selection committee, we got the best of the best here. Now it's up to fans.
Right.
Up to you, Sean.
I will look. I will stuff the ballot if I have to. I'm not sure if you have like anti-spamming filters on the voting process,
We do,
but watch out. If you see my IP address a bunch of times, you know what's happening. I guess I'm curious now to know that the request to be part of the list comes from the team. Does like Masai Ujiri of the Raptors send in this request? Now I'm fascinated about how the Raptor got his name into the mix here.
Okay, well, that was pretty easy. You know, we sent out we have a database of mascots, right? And so we sent out to all the organizations. And so there's some people on the entertainment team there, and they submitted. You have to submit like a video. We actually need people that have written letters of recommendations from the community. Right. So they have to compile quite a bit of information and submit it to us.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm really, really excited to dig more into just the Raptors case here. I guess before we kind of move on, and we can get into some specific examples of, you know, if you're going and looking through like the great career of the Raptor, we can sort of run through some and we can kind of build up the case there. But for you two, I mean, you're in Indiana. Obviously, you know, you're dealing with all of these mascots. You're not Raptor centric like my brain is. I'm curious, you know, what's your familiarity with the Raptor? What like as the Mascot Hall of Fame purveyors, you know, what's your sort of, you know, relationship to the Raptor? Do you know much about the lore and the history there? What's you know, your personal knowledge of the Raptors mascot, who has been around since 1995?
Well, you know, I know that I think John Botev, am I saying that right? John, I hope I'm saying that right.
Botev.
You know, he actually contacted us about a year ago. You know, when are you going to have the vote and things like that? And just corresponding with him, I found out, like, you know, he's a person that actually hired this. He was a kid out of college, right? And a lot of these mascots are college kids that, you know, perform, and then they go on into the professional. We just saw a couple of guys this past weekend. So, you know, through that, hearing that story, and then, you know, I'm kind of a basketball fan. I'm a sports fan in general. Sure. So whenever we hear about a mascot, I go investigate. I want to see what this guy is really about. You know what I mean? And just the, you know, the creativity of the Raptor, I think, is really great. I love that, you know, he's up to date. You know, he's current with trends and things. And I think he had a big thing with Drake, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Everyone on the team has a big thing with Drake at some point or another, yeah.
Well, maybe you guys need to get him on board. Put it on the social media. Yeah, so, you know, we just love it. And I love that he got hatched out of an egg. So that's you know, not everybody gets that, right? So
yeah, the hatching is something I certainly want to talk about as we move into our next segment here and kind of run through the list of credentials for the Raptor. I also have some questions about, the Raptor comes in many forms, and I want to dig into, is the inflatable Raptor a different Raptor entity altogether? We'll get into that question, that very important question, in just a second here. But first, I want to tell everybody about our friends over at Indeed. And look, you might be looking to hire a mascot for your team or something like that, or maybe you're just looking to hire for an office job, but it's more fun if you're hiring a mascot. Either way, Indeed is the place to go when you want to hire the right person for your job. When hiring gets hard, you need Indeed, the job site that makes hiring incredibly simple. Just attract, interview, and hire. In fact, with Indeed, you can do all of your hiring in one place, even interviewing. So don't just hope your perfect candidate will find you. Don't just hope that teenage gymnast who's looking for a career in sports comes knocking on the door. Go find that gymnast and add them to your mascot roster through Indeed. With Indeed assessments, choose from 135 skills tests to help make your findings, make sure you're finding applications from people with the skills you need. According to Talent Nest, Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined. Join more than 3 million businesses that use Indeed worldwide to hire great talent fast. Get started right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/locked, LOCKED. That's get a $75 credit at Indeed.com/locked, Indeed.com/locked. Offer valid through September 30th, which was yesterday. So there might be more of an extended offer. My apologies there. We continue on here. Today's show is also brought to you by Built Bar, who are making the best tasting protein bars money can buy. You should definitely get yourself some Built Bars. They're delicious. They have 9 flavors in their staple lineup, but they have limited time flavors that pop up all the time, including cookie dough chunk, which is out there right now. Go and find your favorite flavors. Get a mix box. Get 2 of each of the 9 flavors and test them out, and then decide which one you want to buy a full box of. Check out the macros: 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from just 130 to 180, just 4 or 5 grams of sugar, and 4 or 5 grams of net carbs, and all of their wonderful flavors. Order today, and you can get the raspberry or grasshopper cookie, or again, any of these limited time flavors that appear on the site. Built Bar is the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. That's the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, Karen and Michelle, let's continue on here, shall we? Let's dig into the credentials of the Raptor. Of course, the Raptor dates back to the first season of the Toronto Raptors. You mentioned the hatching, which is what I refer to that event, and I think most people just know what it's all about. Of course, if you don't know, the Raptor was born on the day the Raptors played their first ever NBA game, and he was brought out on it was weird. It was kind of a mishmash of like toga and also dinosaurs.
Yeah,
all these oiled dudes.
Guys.
Yeah, these oiled dudes brought out this
no shirts.
dais. Yeah, no shirts. Absolutely no shirts. And the Raptor was hatched. I remember Herbie Kuhn, the PA man for the Raptors, really narrating that particularly well. It's a video I've probably watched more than I care to admit on YouTube. But that's where it all began. And since then, many iterations of the Raptor, of course. He was like a legitimately elite gymnast early on in his career, a long-standing sort of history of being one of the beacons of light for a team that was not very good for a long time. And then disaster strikes in 2013-14 when the Raptor tears an Achilles going into the season. And that at the beginning of that season, this is before the Raptors finally get good. They get good in the middle of that season after the Rudy Gay trade. But at the start of the year, the biggest story, the saddest thing going on in Raptors basketball in a time where it was pretty sad all the time, was that the Raptor was not available. And so I'm curious, let me put it to you. Again, the performer is still the same to this day. Obviously not as bouncy as he used to be back 25 years ago, but still walking around the halls, same person. Very few people know the true identity, which is, I think, good mascotting. How much do you take into account the arc that the Raptor has gone on, being the same performer for this long and overcoming serious injury that has ended many a career in the past? Like, what does that kind of mean for the case here for the Raptor?
Well, Sean, we look at, we look at over the years, basically, but that, that is a good criteria that, he's been there since day one, right?
It's very unusual to have somebody up for nomination that's been the same somebody all these years.
There's a few definitely that have been there, and then they have, subs and things like that. But the executive committee, they're the ones who actually narrow that ballot down. So they're the ones who consider all that. They're the ones that are looking through, their bios and the history of them. I'm sure like I said, the organization sent videos, so they're looking through that. So you have to be. It's a high bar. So for him to be on the ballot is huge. And I think that's. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm on the ballot." Everybody wants to win, right? But it's very, very. I think a great honor to be on this ballot. Now, but all of what you're talking about is up to now the fans, right?
Sure.
Because it is out of our hands. And just to clarify, Karen and I have no say in the matter. We don't even have a say like who gets on the ballot. I know I don't.
The executive committee is actually built of professionals in that field. It's not
amazing.
We handpicked. Okay, maybe you can be on it, or you can be on it. It's a large amount, largely it's sports industry mascot
performers. So I don't know if you know a little bit of background about the Mascot Hall of Fame. Dave Raymond, who is the original Philly fanatic, he started the Mascot Hall of Fame online.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, was it 2013, 14? The mayor of Whiting at the time, he wanted to have a destination attraction here. So we're only 25 minutes south of Chicago. So we are so close to Chicago, which makes us perfect. And we're right on Lake Michigan. So we've got a great view. And so what happens is that, now that's my total train of thought here because I got so much going on. I don't even know where it was.
The Hall of Fame was online. Dave Raymond.
Dave Raymond. So we gotcha. Thank you, Sean. Thanks for listening. Somebody's listening to me out there. So everything was online. The mayor wanted something here. They got together and built a 25,000 square foot shrine to the unsung heroes of sports, the Mascots. And we're really unique because we're also a children's museum. So we have 2 floors of interactive mascot themed exhibits, and they even have a STEAM-based curriculum. So we're cool, we're super cool. But we have our balloon heads. I don't know if you can see back there. They're
absolutely, I can. Do I see Benny the Bull? Is that Benny the Bull back there?
Benny's back there. Oh yeah,
this guy's spinning around right here is
Buckeye.
Brutus.
Yeah. Jazz Bear, an NBA guy. And that's what, when you come in here, when they're designing the Hall of Fame, they're like, well, we don't want no bronze bust out there of some guy's face, a mascot face or a statue. We need it to be larger than life. We want something mascot size. So we have these balloon heads. So they float. And when you walk in the door, your jaw will drop. So it's fantastic. We also have, we call it the Indiana Dairy Association is a sponsor, one of our sponsors, and they are sponsoring our Winners Drink Milk exhibit that has all our plaques and information about the mascots. We have 8 kiosks. That's a throw out to Al, who's not here today. We have all these kiosks that we can see Benny the Bull back there.
Sure.
And on there, they're kind of like, the Topps game cards, trading cards, where you can see all the mascots, and then you touch one. It's a touch screen. It flips on. It gives it when they were born, when they were inducted, a little bit of background, and then there's videos and pictures. So, and we also have a place for artifacts and memorabilia. That's in another place. So, and then we have a great little theater. It's not really, well, it's a theater. And where we have footage running of all of our Hall of Famers, their shenanigans, what they do in the community. So this place is pretty spectacular.
I need to make myself a pilgrimage down there, I think. Once it's easier to travel down to the States, I need to make my way for sure. I am very sad. My dreams of being part of the committee, in the middle of this podcast, I'm thinking, but my new career goal is to be on this committee. But I'm not a mascot performer, so it's never going to happen. Dreams have been crushed there. But that's okay. I do want to ask you about the Raptor and the different iterations of the Raptor, because there have been a lot. Of course, when the Raptor got injured in 2013-14, Stripes was introduced, which was just a version of the Raptor with black stripes. Now is the mascot for their G League team. Of course, everybody knows about the inflatable Raptor falling down the stairs. Everyone's seen that video. It's like, I would imagine, that'll be the first video playing in the theater if the Raptor gets inducted here. There's the giant inflatable raptor, which is like 20 feet tall and just like hulks about the court sometimes. There's stilts raptor. There's baby raptors. There's all sorts of different versions of the raptor. My question to you, and maybe this is something for the committee, but is there a stipulation that only one version of the raptor gets in? Is it possible to be nominated as inflatable raptor and plush normal raptor? This is very important to me. All of the versions of the raptor are beautiful, but I'm curious if there's a chance here that it's going to require multiple times of entry for each of the different versions.
Although we're celebrating the raptor, by the nomination, sometimes you need to look at it a little bit more as we're celebrating the entire program.
Sure.
By bringing them in. So when the raptor is in, the raptor's in. It's kind of all encompassing for the entire program.
And
Wonderful.
There's a lot of the inflatables, I guess we'll call them.
Yep.
I don't even know if there's a term.
Yeah.
I gotta
giant
find
inflatable.
that
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So, but we're evolving. Okay.
Yeah.
This, like I said, it started online. All right, and this is only our second vote.
Okay.
Since we've been open.
The Mascot Hall of Fame has been open here in Whiting. So, we actually, we're flexible. We're changing. We are evolving. We are looking at the rules and regulations. Maybe it is just, stripes. But right now it's strictly, we're just trying to go for the mascot. But we did take a huge leap of faith this year with adding the Mountaineer, which is kind of technically a live mascot, right?
And
okay.
And oh my
our
gosh,
first animal mascot.
We have our first animal. Oh my God, he's a bulldog. He's adorable.
Is he just like, did he live at the museum now, or is it just like pictures of the dog about the museum?
Well, he's a nominee right now, so
just a nominee. Yeah, nominees.
Problem for down the road. Yeah.
Right. But I know a lot of the colleges. Obviously they have a big fan base, and so they've already, like, social media for them has exploded. So it's important that, Sean, you better be on this. I'm going to come to you. I think it's all up to you now to get the word out about the Raptor.
If the onus is on me to get the Raptor inducted into the Hall of Fame, I will gladly take that responsibility. I think it's the thing I was born for, so I will be sure to pump away the promotion of the vote. We'll get to the sort of the way you can vote and all that stuff, and a couple more sort of mascot related things in 1 second here. But we do have to take one more quick break, and we are going to do that with our friends over at BetOnline.ag, who are back and better than ever with all eyes now on the gridiron as teams are back playing football for another season. As always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use the promo code LOCKEDON to receive that bonus, which if you put in $100, it's going to give you $150 in your account to start with. That's great. From football, basketball, playoff baseball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, Karen and Michelle, let's finish things off here. And, I want to get both of your sort of personal preferences when it comes to mascots. As I kind of alluded to off the top, and as people who listen to this podcast know, I like terrifying mascots. I like there to be a little bit of like, this mascot could do something messed up right now, kind of in the back of your mind. King Cake Baby comes to mind for me. The Edmonton Oilers mascot, Hunter, I find is a pretty terrifying one, so it appeals to me. Should note Harvey the Hound of the Calgary Flames, just down the road from Edmonton, is up for nomination this year. And that's kind of where I like to go. Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers, for example. I mean, future Hall of Famer material if I've ever seen it before. Also like the sort of slight menacing nature of Gritty. Karen, let's start with you. What kind of mascots do you tend to vibe with most? Do you like the anthropomorphic ones? Do you like animal-based? Do you like the gymnasts? What's your preference here?
I don't think I have a preference on how I like them to look. I think it's more their personality for me.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, the interaction, that's what I watch. It's kind of like dating. You want them to be, you want them to look good, but they have to have the moves too,
I learned something about you, Karen.
And Michelle, for you, what about you?
Oh, you know what? I'm more like the animal type one.
Okay.
I like those guys, but I do like the gymnast people. I like how they can just the zip lining. Oh, and I love when they're on the court and they'll go ahead and just like, on the spring thing. What is that called? Trampoline.
Yeah,
and they do a backflip and then somehow dunk the ball. How does that happen? I don't know. A personal favorite of mine is Tommy Hawk from the Blackhawks here in Chicago.
Okay, yeah.
That's all we hear about over here.
Sorry. He's already a Hall of Famer. Love out to you, Tommy. When we're going to go to a game tonight.
Awesome.
So I watch, so he's out there, he's like jumping on top of the railings, he's beating the drum, he's getting the crowd, and he's funny. Their shtick is funny. And I know during the pandemic, a lot of mascots came up with some phenomenal shtick, which we were following. We try to follow as many mascots as we possibly can, and we would be cracking up and everything. But one thing Karen did say is like how they interact. So we have mascot appearances here. So we have our own mascot, Reggie Funforhuggin. He's the purple party dude. But we also welcome mascots on the weekends. And so we have been very fortunate since July having mascots appearances every weekend. Amazing. And so we have a grand staircase. They come down the grand staircase. We announce them. Confetti cannons go off, and they interact with the crowd. I love it when I see kids, and we have some of our members that are special needs and are in wheelchairs. And these mascots, what they do for them, it's pretty spectacular. Yeah. And you can tell it's genuine, and they goof around. They don't treat them special or anything. They're goofing around, taking their hats or taking
in their wheelchair.
Stealing a wheelchair.
You
know what I mean? So I love that kind of interaction. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, the Raptor is quite good at all. This is the thing about the Raptor. I know, again, you don't have any stake in the vote. I'm just passing along my thoughts. If you wanted to go to the committee and say, hey, maybe we should rig the voting here. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. But the thing with the Raptor is the interaction is there. It's comical, fun interaction with kids. It's also messing with security guards on the floor. It's eating security guards when he's in the inflatable form, which is beautiful. And there's also, the gymnastics of it all as well. I one time saw at a Raptors game, I think it was a playoff game, it might have been, and it was halftime, and the Raptor, not as any sort of performance art or anything like that, the whistle goes, the Raptor walks it on the floor, picks up the basketball, and fires a behind-the-back half-court shot and nails it first try. That's Hall of Fame stuff. I'll send in that clip if I have to. And again, if we want to rig the voting here, there's lots of big college things we're going after, lots of big fan bases we're fighting with. Raptors fans tend to vote pretty well. And, there's been lots of kind of a disproportionate number of all-star starters in Raptors history. So maybe there's something that can be done here to juice the voting for Raptors fans. But I just want to continue to make the case. The Raptors a beautiful, wonderful mascot. I've one time been scared out of my shoes by the mascot, sitting on press row, and he comes down the stairs and then just turns around and goes, "Ruh!" And it's just like, okay, he's interacting with media too. It's the whole package is here for the Raptor. His form with like a t-shirt cannon is basically unprecedented. He has this Gatling gun in the back that when I'm walking through the halls of the arena, so many times I've wanted to risk my professional career by firing off the gun, but I know I could never do it with the ability of the Raptor. It's a wonderful, wonderful mascot who has been providing joy to Raptors fans for a long time. And again, a lot of that was for very, very bad Raptors teams, and he was really kind of the bright light. So let's kind of refresh people on how they can vote and what the process is. How long do they have to vote? Give people the details.
Okay, so first round of voting starts on Sunday the 3rd and goes until Saturday. I just lost my train of thought now.
So you can start voting at 12:01.
Okay. Yeah, on Sunday.
It's
perfect.
Eastern time. So Sunday, October 3rd, and it goes all the way to 11:59 on October 9th. October 9th. So there's a week, right? You can only vote one time per email.
One time per day per email.
Right. So
all right. I will work on making a bunch of unique emails now.
That's but
one time per
I have
day
three.
for verified email.
Yeah, we do have those things in place, but we also have so there's different. We have memberships, right? So we have our members. They actually their vote counts 3 times.
Okay.
And we have several memberships. So there's the
Well, we actually have a membership to do this. It's $20 for the year. If you just go to mascothallofFame.com, buy the vote membership. Your vote counts
$20. It counts 3 times more.
I guess I'm spending $20 this weekend.
I think everybody should.
Now, once you do that, go to mascothallofFame.com, get your membership, and then go to mascothallofFame.com/the vote to do your voting starting on Sunday.
Yep.
And how many of
characters?
Right. How many of the nominees get in? I guess that's the important question here. Is it like a set number each year? Is it just
No.
one?
Well,
What's the sort of number?
What happened, Sean, is so we had that first round of voting, right?
Yeah.
So then it's all based on a percentage. And so what happens is we're going to pick like the top 10. We'll
Gotcha.
go on to the second round of voting. And that starts on the 17th and
Okay.
goes to the 23rd. So then after that, again, it's
So
a
then
percentage.
it's another percentage. They have to have 65% of the vote.
60.
Okay.
Well, I think I don't know. We don't know. Because we don't do it. Okay.
That's fair. That's
Get
fair.
that
That's
clear,
fair.
You know, 'cause I don't want people to think
Yes.
like,
So-
we're going to pick somebody.
So we don't know how many people of those 10 or how many mascots of those 10 will get in because it is
Right.
by a percentage of the vote. And it's either, I'm not gonna lie, it's either 60 or 65% of the vote in
Right.
order to
Yeah.
be inducted.
So it
And
sounds
it
like the
could be-
Baseball Hall of Fame, which is, very confusing, but
Very
also this
similar,
sounds
yes.
much easier than less confusing because none of these mascots are on steroids and not getting let into the Hall of Fame for that reason.
And then what else is fun about it? So what's going to happen once that second round of voting, we are going to have a big fundraiser here on Friday, November 5th. And that's
Mhm.
when we are going to announce
Ooh,
who is going to be
excellent.
the induction 2022 induction class.
So after all
But-
this, you have to wait weeks in order to find out.
Awesome. Well, that's good. We got plenty of time to throw in votes. That's good. I guess the last question is, is it like the Baseball Hall of Fame where there's a certain limit on how long you can be on the ballot? Like, could the Raptor be on next year if he doesn't get in, or is it like a one-time shot, you're in or you're not?
No, it's not a one-time shot.
We have
Okay.
several of the mascots that are on this ballot. Were on the ballot 2 years ago. So absolutely.
Right on. Well, this is good to know. And that is, I think, all I have for you both. Thank you so much for taking the time. This was a delight. I could talk about mascots for the rest of the time. Now that I have your contact info, I might just send you my stray mascot thoughts and one day apply to work at the museum.
You can have us
Who's
on
to say?
anytime you want. We love to talk mascots, and who doesn't love a tall red velociraptor, right?
Honestly, exactly. Who doesn't?
Just saying, and I'm single, so there you go.
And you made fun of my dating.
I will drop the link to vote in the comments or in the write up for this show on YouTube and on the podcast feed. Thank you, Karen and Michelle, for joining me.
Thank
It was a
you.
lovely
Thanks for
time
having us.
chatting with you both. And that's going to do it for today's episode and this week of episodes here at Locked On Raptors. We'll be back again on Monday as the preseason's coming soon. We got the first preseason game on Monday night, which is very exciting. And we will continue on with that preseason coverage all on Monday. Again, thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Make your second listen Locked On NBA, as they're covering the league every single day and digging into all the crazy stories. I'm sure there'll be lots of Sixers talk today. By the way, the Sixers mascot, Franklin the dog, no good. Never, don't let him in.
Be nice.
But that'll do it for today. Thank you. Talk to you Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.